Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. Today we are going to cover classroom behaviors, okay? As you know that classroom behaviors is a subfield in classroom management, okay? We are going to start by defining what we mean by behaviors and also the types of behaviors and how to, let's say, enhance and how to promote positive, let's say, behaviors. Okay, so behaviors refer to any actions, attitudes, and habits that come from the part of the teacher or students inside the classroom. Okay, but here we are going to focus mainly on the behaviors which come from the part of students. So behaviors are divided into two types. We have positive behaviors and negative behaviors. Okay, positive behaviors are those actions, attitudes, and habits which exactly promote the learning process and which, let's say, affect the learning process positively. Okay, this is what we call exactly positive behaviors, and we are going to see some examples of positive behaviors. First, there is showing respect, which means that learners are very respectful to each other and to their teacher. Second, participating actively in the classroom discussions and activities. Okay, one of the main, let's say, positive behaviors is that learners are engaged. Learners participate in the classroom discussions. Third, being punctual. Being punctual is very critical, which means that learners come on time, okay, and the teacher himself or herself comes on time. Okay, this is what we mean by to be punctual, which means to be, let's say, on time and never, let's say, come late. Also showing kindness towards others, which means that students are so kind. Okay, they don't, let's say, bully each other, and they do respect one another. Now we're going to see how to foster positive behaviors in the classroom. First, setting clear expectations, which means that learners should be aware of what is expected from them. Okay, which means that the teacher should make it very clear. Within expectations, there is what we call consequences. For example, if the teacher claims that if learners don't do this, they will get punished, for example, so the teacher should do it. Okay, always learners should be responsible for their ramifications. Okay, because if the teacher doesn't actually do what he or she threatens students with, students will not actually be responsible. The teacher should discuss the expectations that are, let's say, required from the part of learners, and if they don't do, let's say, what the teacher expects from them, there will be some consequences. Okay, and learners should be responsible for the consequences of their behaviors. Also, we have reinforcement. For example, whenever for example, a learner, for example, does something good, the teacher should reinforce him or her for what he or she has done. And here reinforcement can be done through like verbal praise, okay, or rewards. For example, like good job, like very good, like well done, etc. Also, having a report, let's say, helps a lot. The teacher having like a report with his or her students, this contributes to, let's say, coming up with positive behaviors. Also, creating encouraging, let's say, environment for positive behaviors. Like, for example, you can stick, for example, some messages on the wall. Okay, for example, some messages which encourage good behaviors. Now we're going to see negative behaviors. Okay, a negative behavior is the opposite of a positive behavior. Okay, a negative behavior is any, let's say, behavior, any action which hinders the learning process, which blocks the learning process, which halts the learning process. Okay, it's the opposite of positive behavior. Why should we address negative behaviors? Simply because negative behaviors actually block the learning process. Also, let's say that the effectiveness of the teacher and students is negatively affected by, let's say, negative behaviors. Now we're going to see some factors, let's say, influencing the behavior in the classroom. First, it's the family. family like plays a crucial role in, let's say, raising their kids. Okay, so and here some problems that, let's say, learners like might do in the classroom are driven by some like family problems, okay, or the family doesn't actually raise their kids as they should be. Now we're going to see some techniques for positive behaviors in the classroom. First, appreciating positive behaviors. Okay, your students should notice that you as a teacher appreciate positive behaviors. Also, we have the code of conduct. Okay, the code of conduct, which is the most of the time is done at the beginning of the year, which means that the teacher and learners agree on some rules. Okay, this helps a lot. Also, you as a teacher focus mainly on what students do well instead of what they do wrong. Okay, and also instead of telling your students, for example, what or not to do, tell them what to do. Okay, also try to execute what you tell your students. For example, if you tell your students that if you don't do this, I will do this, you should do this. Okay, for example, I will, for example, punish you as an example, you should do it. Also, you need to consider the ramifications. Okay, for example, you as a teacher, if you tell, for example, your students, for example, that if you don't do this, I will do this. Okay, you should do it. Because if your students, for example, are accustomed, for example, or are familiar that you don't actually do what you say, then they are not going to respect you. Okay, and they will just do whatever they want. I hope this video has been helpful for you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so that you are going to get new notifications, and good luck.